Imagine being betrayed not by a stranger, not by an enemy, but by your own family. The people who were supposed to love you, protect you. And they didn't just turn their backs, they sold you. That's not a movie. That's the real story of a man named Joseph. And what he did in response to that betrayal is one of the most powerful demonstrations of forgiveness in all of human history. Joseph was one of 12 sons. His father Jacob loved him deeply. So deeply, he gave him a coat of many colors, a symbol of favor. But that favor came with a price. His brothers hated him for it. They hated his dreams. They hated the way their father looked at him. And one day, when Joseph came to check on them in the fields, they made a decision. They stripped him of his coat. They threw him in a pit. And then they sat down to eat, while their brother cried out for mercy from below. They sold him for 20 pieces of silver. Genesis 37:28. 20 pieces of silver. That's what they thought he was worth. Joseph was trafficked, dragged to Egypt as a slave, and ripped from everything he'd ever known. And where was God in all of this? That's the question, isn't it? Egypt was not the end of Joseph's suffering. It was the beginning of his preparation. In the house of Potiphar, he rose to a position of trust, and then was falsely accused and thrown into prison. Wrongly, unjustly. Years passed in that cell. He interpreted dreams for two men, and when one of them was freed, Joseph asked him, "Remember me." But the man forgot him. 2 more years in prison. Can you imagine the weight of that? The silence of God in a season like that. But here's what Scripture shows us in every season. Even in the pit, even in the prison, the Lord was with Joseph. But the Lord was with Joseph and showed him steadfast love. Genesis 39:21. God was not absent. He was working, positioning, preparing. The suffering wasn't punishment, it was the path. Then, Pharaoh had a dream that no one could interpret. And suddenly, the cupbearer remembered Joseph. After 2 years, he remembered. Joseph was brought out of prison, stood before the most powerful man on earth, and interpreted the dream. 7 years of abundance, then 7 years of famine. And Pharaoh put Joseph in charge of all of Egypt, the slave, the prisoner, now second only to Pharaoh. God didn't just restore Joseph. He elevated him to a place where the very betrayal of his brothers would become the instrument of their salvation. When the famine hit Canaan, Jacob sent his sons to Egypt to buy grain. They didn't know who they were walking up to, but Joseph knew them immediately. He could have destroyed them. He had the power. He had the position. A word from him and their lives were over. Instead, Joseph wept so loudly that everyone in the palace heard him. "I am Joseph. Is my father still alive?" Genesis 45:3. And what came next is one of the most grace-filled moments in all of Scripture. "Do not be distressed or angry with yourselves because you sold me here, for God sent me before you to preserve life." Genesis 45:5. Do not be angry with yourselves. He didn't say, "I forgive you, but I haven't forgotten." He removed their guilt completely. He reframed their entire story through the lens of God's sovereignty. That is not human. That is the grace of God, working through a broken man who chose to trust God's plan over his own pain. Who is your Joseph story? Who are the brothers in your life? The ones who betrayed you, sold you out, left you in a pit. Forgiveness doesn't mean what they did was okay. It means you're trusting God enough to let go of the weight that was never yours to carry. Joseph's pit wasn't the end of his story, and yours isn't either. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good. Genesis 50:20. If God could turn slavery and prison into a palace and a platform, What might he be doing right now in the season you think is your lowest point? Let that sink in. If this video moved something in you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe. We're building something here, together.